I want to watch this video that another creator uh did. But before that, I want to say this that um you know, Charlie Kirk's death has really affected me in a way that I didn't think it would, right? And it made me really evaluate something where I honestly believe Asian people stands for Charlie Kirk, right? Stands with Charlie Kirk. Um Asian people in general have the same beliefs, have a lot of the same beliefs. I believe, we didn't have anyone who was, uh, you know, um, a big voice in the Asian community. So I believe that a lot of things he represented and talked about, you know, the Asian community also represents. Again, I'll say this, right? And I've said this before. You shouldn't agree with anyone 100%, right? It is crazy. Don't. But again, a lot of things he value, it's within Asian, right? Is within Asian tradition, Asian beliefs. So what do I mean? Like he values family, being a moral person, being a good citizen, uh, accountability. Don't be a victim. Right? Work hard, work smart. Um, try to achieve greatness. Care for your family. Try to put your family first. Okay. Care about your children. Respect your elders. Respect others. That's rooted in Asian, communities, okay? All the things I said is very rooted in Asian community, right? The respect of your family, respect of your parents. We may not share the same religions or even if we are religious at all. We might share the same, certain kind of beliefs like, Middle East stuff, whatever. But a lot of core tenets that he shares, ideology that he, you know, uh, cares about and shares, it's Asian people share it. So, in my honesty, I believe his it's a big loss, right? Asian people will feel it's a big loss as well. We're not we won't talk about it because Asian community aren't really vocal people, but it's a big loss because we also care about our country. We care about our country. We love America, and here's a man that loves America, loves loves the country, promotes being a good citizen. And it's a shame what happened to him. It really is. And I'll say it again. Asian people, right, in general, we stand. We stand with Charlie Kirk. He will be someone that will be missed. So yeah. Let's move on to a video that's talking about it, right? That's talking about um here's a man that, he has had some dealings with Charlie Kirk, so he probably knows firsthand. So let's check it out.
Truth. So I want to put the truth in his words in a very articulate manner. You can go through this video chapter by chapter and it hits a lot of different marks and topics and things that are currently being said about Charlie Kirk. And me and Charlie, we've had our disagreements and that's all they ever were. We're just disagreements because you're allowed to disagree with somebody. You're allowed not to agree 100% with somebody that you're talking to or you're an associate with. And if someone sent you this video and you're new to me, you have no idea who I am, you have no idea, or you've just only heard the things about Charlie Kirk, I really do hope that throughout this video, you are listening to understand rather than listening to respond. At least for this video, just listening to understand why so many people loved Charlie Kirk. They say he's racist, but why are so many black people upset that Charlie Kirk has passed? They say he's homophobic, but why are so many gay people upset that Charlie Kirk passed? They say he's misogynistic. Well, why are so many women sad that Charlie Kirk has passed? They say he's transphobic. Why are there even trans people sad that Charlie Kirk has passed? They say he's a white nationalist. Well, why are so many black, Hispanics, Asians, the list goes on, anyone that's not white, very upset that Charlie Kirk has
I am very upset. I'm very upset. I One of the things where I'm really upset is that this man, he was the beacon of something that I love, where let's talk about it, right? Let's have civil discourse. If it is okay for us to, if we can't find common grounds, let's agree to disagree, but let's talk. Let's talk. Whatever your view is, whatever my view is, let's talk. Just talk. Okay. And I love that about him. He represented that ideology. He goes to your face, right? Face to face. Let's talk. Whatever you feel, hear what I feel, whatever I think, whatever you think, let's listen. And let's see if we can find common ground. If we can't, we agree to disagree. It's all good.
Past. If any of those terms were real about Charlie Kirk, then why on earth do all the same people that were commonly being told he hates loves and supports him? Just stop for 1 second, just 1 second. Stop listening to mainstream media. Stop listening to your friend groups. Stop listening to your echo chambers in social media, which even I myself in, and I try my best to, get away from echo chambers. Just stop being told how to think. And yeah, you're watching this video and I'm helping debunk the lies, but it's with his words and with full context, of which most people are not getting. Like, that's the one thing I learned from Charlie the most back in 2017, 2018, when I was really, all my worldview and my thoughts were being challenged. Watching his content and even getting the chance to meet him was just, seeking the truth for myself. I listened to my friends, I listened to my favorite influencers and creators, but I always defaulted to my own research and deep research. Really.
And that's the thing where echo chambers, understandable, right? Listen to people, I get it. I always promote don't don't agree with anyone 100%. Make your own decision, right? Process the information yourself, right? Don't just like, okay, you know what? First surface level, whatever they say, I agree with. No, listen to what they're saying, critically think about what they say. Okay, make your own determining, right? Your own determination. That's very important. We have so many people who are just, you know what? I listen and boom, that's it. I'm like, whatever you say, I agree with 100%. And that is the problem we're facing. Okay, just don't be sheeps.
Understanding what they were saying and why. And it's hard. It destructs your worldview. It's challenging. It is, but it's needed. We have to stop and think for ourselves. Like, truly, again, I can't stress this enough. Everything that they say Charlie is, there's a group of people for each one, each term, that absolutely adore him and miss him. Why? That's what this video is about. This is exactly what Charlie always pushed me to do. And this is what I feel like is missing right now in this discourse about who this man is, especially from the left, the party of love, inclusivity, positivity, the list goes on. If that is the case, why are things like this being displayed? Why are things like this being promoted right now? Why are things like this being said? You don't see that type of behavior on the right. You don't. Hell, even the center, you don't. You just don't. Like, again, you're listening to a black gay man who used to be so far on the left crying in the streets, and now I'm more center right, admittedly, because of my own research that I've done. People think I grew up so privileged. I've been homeless before. I've been sent to conversion therapy. Like, there's so much to me and my story. So like let's get any pre-notions about who I am and what I do, get those out. Okay, this video is for the person that I once was, who was lost in this realm, in this mainstream media, in this new.
And because, right, we have all these pre notions, right? Or like, I get a lot of hate where, oh my God, you're an Asian man. Why do you talk about black people? Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Like some of the these views against me is that I actually care, right? I care. I honestly believe the victim narrative, the blaming the white man, viewing the white man as evil, all this thing it's not beneficial, right? I've said this countless times before. I do not discredit the past. I don't. I acknowledge it and I agree it's horrible. But I sometimes I view it like you being the community being shackled to the past is keeping them in the past. And in honesty, it's an excuse. Using it as an excuse. Okay. So that's how I always viewed it, where you are holding yourself back because you use the white man as a boogeyman, right? Because here's the thing, where I have friends. I have people I know, people I work with, people I've been around. It's like they are holding themselves back. They have other issues where seeing their sons get killed, their children get, put into prison, their, you know, baby mama issues, baby daddy issues, getting pregnant early. No, I mean, it's like, and to think that, w- you know, to see what is it? What would I say? The issues in the black community, and to think that the way to solve it is to just blame white people. It's like, that's not helping. That's not solving anything, actually. So yeah, I'm vocal about it, and people think I'm racist. People think I'm this. It's like, I'm not, in my view, right? You believe whatever you want to believe, but it's like I've said this before, where I think the black community is like the coolest community around. Right? They're the coolest, but why are they suffering so much? And if you think it's the white man, and I'm like, okay, now what? Now what? You know the white man is the problem, right? That's what you feel, right? You know white man is the boogeyman. Okay. Now what? What is your uh prognosis? What is your prescription? I really don't hear any. Oh, I don't know, make what is it? Like, more rights? What rights? Everyone is, in my view, is like equal, right? At least in the rights department. Um And what? Different policing? I agree with that. I mean, I'll give you that. I've been critical of the police, and I do think that it needs reform, restructuring. So I don't disagree with that. But is that really, you know, making the black community worse? I don't know. I wouldn't say that. So
cycle, not knowing what to believe, where to go. That's jokes about Floyd. That I'm not saying that wasn't the case, but at this caliber, insanity. You know, we were hearing things like, where was this energy when the Democrat died in June? Okay, you're right. Where was this energy? Ever since Charlie Kirk died, you have had thousands of videos of people celebrating his death. You have teachers, like college teachers, professors, deans losing their jobs because they are promoting and applauding assassins. Yet the right didn't.
now I will say this, right? The people who are getting fired, um, for celebrating and saying heinous things about Charlie Kirk, um, those are the consequences of their actions. Now, you may say, "Oh, Charlie Kirk, well, that's the consequences of his action." Here's the thing: the consequences of speaking, right, of talking, should never be death. Even for the people who hate on Charlie, I would never wish death upon them. Right? No one should. Right? No one on the right, no one on the far left should wish death or want death for anyone that may say hurtful things, may say hateful things. So there's levels to it. And we also gotta think, where if you work for yourself, you're gonna say what you're gonna say. I mean, what repercussions would that be, right? People don't follow you, it is what it is. But these are people who work for companies. They work for businesses. There is a what is it? Code of ethics. There, you are representing the company. So guess what? Well, companies don't want you to represent them. So that is, I think, an adequate consequences for your action. Adequate is the point, right? Death should not be a adequate or equal consequence for talking.
Have that energy when a Democrat died. One mainstream Republican, I believe, did or said some harsh things. But again, it wasn't to this caliber. It wasn't at this level of people making fun of someone's death, applauding someone's death, and just the thing that we're seeing right now doesn't reflect you or just the average person out there. Do not become the hate you claim to fight. Don't do it. Don't. As we go through this video, I want you to keep in mind some key things and just some things to have in the back of your head regarding who actively calls for and promotes political violence.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
They go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
Biggest terror threat in this country
is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
We're only one third through this video.
And that is absolutely disgusting. That shit like this is absolutely disgusting. And I said it, right? I saw a Charlie Kirk video of a guy, you know, talking about fascism. What are you? Do you know where you at in America? And then people are throwing the word Nazi, fascism. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And you got to think, right? The left constantly, Democrats constantly say these things. They say all these things to make you boil up, right? Make you emotional. So guess what? When a young, unstable man, okay, now thinks that, oh, this guy's terrible. This guy's a fascist, a Nazi. I want to be a hero. I want to be a hero. Especially, right? There was reports that him going through college, right? They said, oh yeah, his parents are Republicans. His parents are conservative. There were reports that his parents and him disagree a lot. They said that once he went to college, he'd been very radicalized, right? So who cares if his parents were Republicans? We know that during the whole when Trump got elected, plenty of people, right? They disowned or broke up relationships of all kinds, right? Parents, you would disown parents, disown kids. You would break up relationships, break up friendships. It's like you would disown, disown or break up relationship with your brothers, sisters, friends. It's like, so people do this, right? You can be one party and then the people around you a different party, which is, I even thought that was extreme, right? I thought that was too much. It's like so many young people and so many others, right? They're making politics their life. This is why I don't really talk too much about politics, because it gets really insane. It really does. And people get so extreme. This is the funny thing, right? I've said this before where I made a video, right? How I said Asian people support Trump's deportations of illegal immigrants. And I believe that. I got so many death threats. And I'm a nobody, right? I'm a nobody. But I got dozens upon dozens of death threats, right? Small following, very small following. But that video went viral, right? That video went viral. And I got so many death threats from it. And even towards my family. Seriously, so it's just, the political stuff is, people can go insane.
Video, and I'm done playing it because it just keeps going on. All these news outlets, left wing, CNN, MSNBC, all these news pundits literally calling for violence. You know, words have meaning. You're calling someone, even myself, every day, get called racist, homophobic, transphobic, a bigot, Nazi. I've been called it all. Like you destroy the meanings of these words and you just throw them out nonstop. You really do. And when politicians do things like this, it boils my blood. Not even just politicians, but mainstream pundits and
that's the thing where I've been called racist before too, and do you know what that word means? I have literally no one can prove to me that I've said racist things. I have people who say I said misogynistic things. Prove it to me. Prove it. I have a catalog of videos. Go ahead. Prove it to me. I mean, you could stitch a video. You can, remix a video. I think YouTube does that. Prove it.
and political commentators. I've never, from a clear lens, you're like, oh shit, what is really going on? The quote that I'm going to pull up is from advocate.com, and the title is Reactions to Far-Right Activist Charlie Kirk's Death Pour In Across the Political World. And they have a section here from GLAAD, G-L-A-A-D. It's a LGBTQ rights nonprofit organization. Where it gets crazy to me is right here. GLAAD stressed the extent to which Kirk and Turning Point USA promoted anti-LGBTQ+ narratives. The group highlighted Turning Point College's campus campaigns featuring speakers such as Riley Gaines, Chloe Cole, and Pastor Jensen Yu, who regularly spoke against transgender people. You guys, Chloe Cole's trans. Chloe Cole was a trans minor that got a double mastectomy as a minor. and actively speaks out against transitioning minors so that they did not have to go through all the medical defects and mental turmoil that Chloe Cole is now going through because she was sent down the right to transition as a minor.
I was medicalized starting with puberty blockers and then testosterone at the age of 13. I went on to have a double mastectomy at 15.
You have GLAAD, this gay organization, calling Chloe Cole anti-trans people. They're literally, that's just one example, you guys. That's just one example. Again, I show all this and I'm saying all this because this is what Charlie inspired me to do. It's what he told me to do. And I'm very honored and very thankful for the interactions that I've had with him in the past. Truth matters. Context matters, and I hope that you walk away from this video with at least a more open mind and understanding on why so many people genuinely love the things he had to say and how he operated and moved through this realm. Regardless, in this video, I'm going to be recapping all the things that are currently being said and discussed about Charlie Kirk, starting off with gun rights.
You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
And this is important because it's a clip.
But he also said this, right? Before that, he also said this, where we have to understand that there are, nothing is perfect, right? He gave an example, okay? There are about 50,000 deaths every year, car-related, right? Car-related deaths, 50,000 every year. Does that mean that we should get rid of cars just to now have 50,000 less deaths every year? Does that mean we should just stop it? No, because, cars are beneficial. We want cars. But it's the sad consequence of said cars. But it doesn't mean that this term I always love, right? This quote or this saying I always love. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So you don't just get rid of everything just because you want to, let's say, eliminate car death. So, and again, I'm not the biggest proponent of guns, but still, it is part of America. It's a part of America. So you don't just, okay, let's get rid of guns, right? So we can stop gun related death. It doesn't, because this is the thing where you got to think, what is that solving? Yes, you stop gun deaths, but do you stop deaths at all? I mean, in the UK, they were experiencing a high level of of stabbings, right? Of knife deaths. Now you got that. Now you get, it's like, again, I'm not the biggest proponent of guns, but it's part of our way of life. It's part of our, our American backbone in a way. So I just think that, at the end of the day, it's not like he's promoting, oh, it's good thing that, that there's death. We should go kill for the Second Amendment. No, it's just that, there are just bad things there's always a pro with a con. It's just how life is.
It's kind of like a gotcha. Well, Charlie called for this. He asked for this. No, he did not. There's a strong difference between advocating for gun rights because you can protect yourself, but your personal safety, and also from a tyrannical government versus the right for mentally ill people to commit political assassinations. There's a major difference, and obviously there's some context that goes into that. No one, he's not he's not advocating for political assassins to take place. He's not advocating for crazy people to just go out there and be shooting people willy-nilly. No, he's acknowledging the fact that some shootings will happen, but we also can acknowledge that this assassination of Charlie Kirk is bigger than just a random shooting. That's not what this is. It was a planned and targeted attack. That's what that was. It was an attempt to silence this growing, this extremely growing faction of people that are going against mainstream media, speaking up for the truth and being loud about it. A movement that Charlie has been behind and is highly, highly responsible for. And all this did, honestly, was push forward his beliefs even more. Yes, unfortunately, bad people get a hold of guns and they do something horrible, but I'm not looking at that clip of Charlie Kirk and think, well, he clearly asked for it because, you know, he's fine with citizens having guns. No.
And it doesn't mean that he's fine with crazy people having guns, bad people having guns. He's not. I'm pretty sure if Charlie was God, he would strip anyone that's mentally ill or anyone that's immoral, right? With the being able to access guns. I'm pretty sure he would. But also, again, he's not a politician. He's not the president. He's not part of Congress. So opinion doesn't necessarily mean, oh, he should be, I don't know, having thoughts about guns should, he get the consequences from a gun. No, right? He's not literally, okay, oh, let me pass everyone to have guns and then get killed by a gun. No. So again, man's opinion is a man's opinion.
No, that's just not how that works. Empathy. Now, there's also a clip that's going around of Charlie Kirk talking about his opinions on the word empathy, and let's just hear what he has to say.
The new communication strategy is not to do what Bill Clinton used to do, where he would say, I feel your pain. Instead, it is to say you're actually not in pain. So let's just very short clip. Bill Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics. Sympathy I prefer more than empathy. That's a separate topic for a different time.
Important at the end.
Because here's the thing. You're not really in that person's shoes, right? This is the thing where we see this a lot. A woman can't necessarily be in a man's shoes to feel how he feels. Women don't. Women don't have empathy for men. So, that's just how it is. And sometimes men can't have empathy for women because you're not in their shoes, right? You don't know what they're feeling. You don't really know. You can sympathize with it, right? Have sympathy. And this is the thing where people completely take away the sympathy part, right? They don't quote the sympathy part, right? They don't quote the sympathy quote of it. They just talk about the empathy. Oh, empathy is new age. I don't believe in empathy. So, I'm not going to give this man empathy. Okay. So you're going to not give this man empathy. Fine. Are you going to give this man sympathy? Oh, no, not that too. So really, do you even follow his whole quote? No, you don't.
And he says, sympathy is what I prefer more than the word empathy, because he feels like empathy is a word that's being taken advantage of. And it is. It is an overblown word. It is a word that has been if we're going to explain that quote and what he was referring to and talking about, this idea that's been growing that we have to be empathetic of everybody. And there comes a point where our empathy clouds our judgment. There comes a point where you're so empathetic. Instead of just having sympathy for somebody, you're so like, I feel your pain and I don't want you to have pain here. Just take anything, where that ruins society. Something that I often think about is this growing hatred, like infighting within the LGBTQ community, and I'm not kidding you guys, this growing faction of trans men who hate gay men because trans men are saying trans men are men. The only reason I'm gay, I'm sorry, all due respect to females out there, the only reason I'm gay is because I don't like women, like biological women. I don't like biological women. Trans men are biological women. Obviously, that's not going to work out. So you have some gay people like, you need to be empathetic towards these trans people and recognize them as a man that they are. We're different. And then people are like, well, that hurts their feelings. You're being transphobic. You're being a bigot. And it's being overused. It's being overused. Oh, well, we have to be empathetic towards Leah Thomas changing in the restroom and identifying as a female. Leah Thomas is walking into this women's locker room.
I want to say something. I was talking to a gay man that I know, and I was like, and this guy looks good, right? He's a top, I would say he's a rare type of man in attraction level. But I was like, it's weird because why are you attracted to men? Because men in general is not attractive people, in my opinion, right? And it's like such a waste that you can get girls easily. Because women, again, it is dating statistics. Most men find most women attractive, while most women don't find most men attractive because I guess they're not. So I don't know why. I was like, why would you find men attractive? And he's like, to be honest, he said that he found both people attractive. So I was like, okay, I guess. I mean, but I just like can't. I mean, like, I'm not saying that like it's impossible to find a man that's good looking because I said he's a good looking man. But in general, most men are very average looking, very average looking. So they don't invoke any kind of attraction. So I don't know. I mean, even to say this man's attractive, I'm not saying that it's that kind of attraction. I no feelings whatsoever. So I can't. I don't really understand, right? But when I see a beautiful woman, my God, which it's a lot. I think there's a lot of beautiful women. It's just a different invoke. So I mean, maybe it's just something I never understand, right? Because I don't know. Uh, Again, I can't empathize, right? I can't empathize.
Slanging that elephant trunk all around, making all the women, biological women, feel uncomfortable. But people are using the term, oh, you have to be empathetic towards Leah. Leah identifies as a female, she's a female. That word is being used in a negative manner. That's what all that was talking about. He appreciates and values the word sympathy. So people are taking this quote out of context and say, well, I don't have empathy for Charlie because Charlie doesn't like empathy. Look deeper. Stop listening to friend groups. Stop listening to tweets. Stop listening to TikToks. Like literally, just think deeper about these things, you guys. Think deeper, think critical, and the truth will be revealed.
I do think one thing is important is we need to critically think. We need to actually you know, do some critical thinking, right? Listen, if you want to listen to something, right? Listen to his quote, watch the video, and just really just sit there and process it. Process it. Hopefully you come to a reasonable, logical conclusion. Okay, not some emotional, wild, kind of crazy thought.
Gay people.
I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to ask you, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
Thank you.
That's who they call homophobic. Oh, well, he said he doesn't agree with that lifestyle and he doesn't like gay marriage. That's fine. You don't have to think 100% with me on board, and just because you don't like what gay people do doesn't mean I'm gonna write you off as a bigot, homophobic person and then like boom, just not gonna talk to you for the rest of my life. No. Do you have any idea how gay Turning Point is? With all due respect. You have any idea how many gay people is employed there? Any idea how many gay influencers have been on Turning Point's platform? Like, I can't comprehend this idea that he's this homophobic bigot just because he is very fond of his religion and he doesn't think two guys should be able to get married. There's a lot of people that think that. I personally think the government should just be out of marriage completely. But again, I'm not going to write somebody off just because they have one opinion. One opinion that may change. One opinion that we probably can reach a middle ground, like the government getting out of marriage. But very kind, very respectful, very opening to lots and lots of gay people out there. That was the Charlie I knew. Everybody knew. Like he was very nice and cool with lots of different gay people out there. It was not that big of a deal. Trans people.
I just want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy? Because I don't know what's true, what's not.
Tell me, are you comfortable telling me your story?
I've known that since like 3rd grade, and I'm currently 19, almost 20. I've known basically since then. I didn't start going by like a different name until 7th and 8th grade. I just don't know, like, with the whole medical stuff, like what's true, what's not.
I'm gonna let this person finish, but Charlie gets called a transphobic bigot. The crowds get called transphobic bigots. There's a trans person that went through that crowd, is asking a question. No one's heckling them. No one's harassing them. No one's beating them. Charlie's sitting there being super respectful, hearing them out. That's all he ever did, was hear people out. Like, he wasn't this radical person that was very mean and rude on campuses. No, he could get stern with people. He was matching energy, that's for sure. He matched energy. But this is who we're talking about as someone super transphobic.
It's helpful because I've heard so many different opinions.
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you, and again, very few people will say this, I actually want to see you be comfortable in how you were born.
Yeah.
I know that you might not feel that way, but I think that is something that you can achieve. I think that with the right team and the right people, you don't have to wage war on your body. You can learn to love your body.
That's the people. That's who someone that people are calling transphobic bigot. Someone like that in an interaction like that. Respectful, calm, telling a person how they feel, wishing them the best, going about their day. There's another one.
You're part of the problem.
I don't know if he's gonna. Okay, I don't know if he probably doesn't gonna show the clip, but there's a clip of Charlie Kirk, right, talking to a college student, and that, or I guess a student, a guy asking, why do you support gay people, right? Why would you support gay people? And he said that you shouldn't care what people do in their private life. You shouldn't care. That has nothing to do with you. Okay? This is the thing that this man, I hate this thing where people are hating him for maybe like clips, out of context clips, or hating on him, never even listening to him, but other people hate him. So if this person you follow hates him, there's a high likelihood that you will hate him as well, because, well, you follow this people and you like these people, you respect these people, so, oh, if this person hates him, then he must be a terrible person, so I should hate him too.
I think with the hatred on trans people, it's really not that deep. Like, if someone wants to dress up however they want, that's totally fine.
Okay, so
and I think
I'm
that's
not
where the
preventing
hatred
you. I'm
comes
not preventing
from.
you from dressing up like this. However,
like,
let me ask you a question. I will
go
flush
ahead,
this
go
out.
ahead.
So let's pretend you say you are a woman.
Yeah,
and
yeah, let's pretend.
I know you are a man, but I refuse to call you a woman.
Okay.
Who's the hateful one?
I would say you are. I mean, I wouldn't.
So
I
you're
wouldn't
going to
appreciate
force
it.
me and shame
I'm not
me.
forcing
No, hold
you
on a
to do
second.
anything, man.
I'm the hateful one.
It's really just like common courtesy.
It is never
Is it that much
common
effort?
courtesy to lie. You do
Okay.
not become a thing just because you say it, you are the thing.
So-
And guess what? Nobody in the history of the species that was born XX or born XY and transitioned is able to change their chromosomes. Every
Yeah.
one of your cells is coded either XX or XY.
But
And
that's
it is an
where-
insult to women everywhere in this audience and across the country that's saying that you could just wear makeup and dress like a woman, undergo surgery, that you magically become a woman. And it is the abolition of women and is the abolition of reality.
That it can be hard to hear for some people. I will acknowledge that. But that's not transphobic. That's just the truth. There's a reason trans people exist. You have male and you have female. If you're transitioning from male to female, you're attempting to mimic the other thing, right? You're transitioning from male to female. Clearly, what that means is you were never that thing and you're never going to be that thing. I have trans friends. I love my trans friends. They acknowledge that they're what they were born as. They acknowledge their gender dysphoria. They acknowledge the mental health things that they go through. And that's all fine and dandy. And I call them what they want to be called, but you can't force that on somebody. The only reason all this attention has been on trans people the last few years is because of their involvement in transitioning minors and being involved in women's spaces. That's it. The two most protected groups of people in the world, really, for the most part, it's kind of like off limits, women and children. Trans people in the United States the last few years have gone after women and children. There's other videos on my channel that we've talked about this in great lengths, but this is a thing that actually has happened. This is why people have become so vocal. There's a reason we see gay relations in the United States completely getting positive and getting better, and it starts plummeting when all this stuff started happening, when trans women in sports and transing children. If we're gonna look at it from a different perspective, kids, they...
This is the thing where controversial, right? Controversial take. I was born in the 80s, so I'm an 80s, 90s kid. Now, I have no data, right? There's no data on this, right? So I'm not pulling up some data for you to see. But like you said, right? He said gay relations, right? So people were okay with gay people, lesbians, whatever, right? They were okay with it, right? The relations were going up. The I'm fine with it, whatever, was going up. I also believe, controversial, I guess, that race relations were going up. I believe it, right? Because as the 90s, 80s, really, race wasn't, we weren't talking about race. Race wasn't always pulled up. It's like, like no one's blaming the white man. No one's hating the black man, right? That shit wasn't talked about. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that things weren't I think things were on the trajectory. trajectory of improving, of getting better every year, every decade. Things were getting better, in my honest opinion. So, just like what he's probably saying is like how now things are just like I don't know, 360 or 180 or whatever. It's totally flipped on its head. Where like, you know, alphabet, you know, gay relations, all that stuff is worse, and you know, race relationship is worse too. It's like I don't know.
They can't drink, they can't vote, they can't smoke. They're kids. They're not grown enough. So this thought and idea that you can give a 14-year-old a double mastectomy, and before you say, oh, it doesn't happen, Chloe Cole, it does happen. Before you say it doesn't happen or that's wrong, these are things actively going on. I have all the books. When I'm talking about book bans, I have all the books in my closet. I've read them all, the LGBTQ books that have been banned. It's literally corn, giving instructions on how to please yourself. For 6th graders, again, I wasn't going to be sitting here being told how to think. I bought the books. You can buy them. You can look in them. And you can decide for yourself if you really think that's appropriate for 5th and 6th graders. It's not. But on the topic of trans, Charlie Kirk really stood up for the women and children. And he did promote the detransitioners because their voice matters too. It does. Especially when you're dealing with minors. Not adults, minors. When you have this growing faction of trans people saying, hey, I was a trans minor and I made the wrong decision. At least wait till you're an adult. All of a sudden, that's being considered transphobic and bigoted. I thought we're supposed to listen to them. Notice whenever you're being invited to hear another side, it's always a term for them. Oh, they're transphobic, don't listen to them. They're TERFs, they're anti-trans people, they're self-hating gays, self-hating blacks. What if they're just people with opinions? What about that? Racism.
You are here in the wealthiest country ever, at an amazing university, with all the opportunity imaginable in front of you. And all you want to do is look backwards at everything that prevented you, when you are a glaring example that there is no systemic racism and you can actually achieve your wildest dreams.
Whoa, I never said that. Hey, I'm not the only black person who exists out there. There's so many people who this culture is affecting to this day.
Do you know black Americans are the richest black people on earth?
What statistic is that? Okay, I need you to pull that up right now.
You can. Black Americans per capita on average.
Can you pull that up?
I'm hosting an event right now. I don't know what to tell you. But anyone can fact check me on this. So you cannot find a black majority country or any country where black people have significant representation where they are as wealthy. Because even the poorest people in America are in the top 5%, the top 2% of wealth around the world. And so my whole belief is stop acting like you're a victim and start making better choices.
That's not racism. I am my ancestors' dream.
That's what this is the thing why I love Charlie Kirk, right? Especially when he talks about this. I don't view him as racist. I view him as he wants better for the black community. Holding on to the past, which again, I've said this, I don't discredit the past. I agree. The past is ugly. But holding on to it, being shackled to the past, that is what holding the black community back. It's what holding the black, because here's the thing. The black community, what I see, again, I'm not saying I understand. Maybe I'm wrong. But what I see is that they use white people, right? They use white people as an excuse, as the boogeyman for why they are not succeeding, right? Why are you living, why are you earning so little? Why are you, why your generation, right? Why aren't you creating generational wealth? Why can't you save? Why can't you budget? Why can't you invest? Because of the white man, right? Why are you poor? Why are you struggling? Because of the white man. Instead of, you know what? It's me. I'm the problem. I'm not learning. I'm not trying to save. I'm not trying to budget. I'm not trying to invest. I'm not trying to improve, right? I'm not trying to be better.
I'm in the deep South, Tennessee, I don't know, 40, 60 feet, probably above tons of my ancestors that were slaves hundreds of years ago, living their dream right now. I am my grandfather's dream, who could not speak openly like this, who actually dealt with the Jim Crow laws, who actually dealt with real racism. I'm afforded every opportunity any white person is in this country right now. Are there economical differences? For sure. Are there some systemic things that we can get into? For sure. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't have it better than every other generation of black people that have come before me in this nation. I have it better. We all have it better. We genuinely do. I don't understand how people can sit here and call Charlie Kirk a racist when even back in 2018, 1920, hosted events like the Young Black Leadership Summit, where he would take 200 to 300 young black people all across the United States, invite them to DC, invite them to meet the president, invite them to the White House, invite them on this journey in this conference to learn more about the black history in this nation from other black people, to hear about stories that aren't taught in schools, to see a different side of our past as victors and not victims, you know, being a part.
You know, this is something I thought was interesting. Let's check this one out. Okay, so this is a Gallup poll, right? Now, again, I'm not saying this is anything concrete or amazing study, but you know, it's a interesting poll. I don't know their basis, you know, what they are. Okay, so I don't know. So just I'm just reading some. We'd like to know how you would rate relations between various groups in the United States these days. Would you say relations between white and black people are very good, somewhat bad, very bad? Okay. It was to 2001 to 2025. Okay. Looks like was really good. All right. During these times, right? Early. Even for the black people, they said it was decently good. Okay. It's getting worse over time. With maybe a little bit like during 2021 was bad, right? But it's getting a little bit better, I guess. Right? Are very good, somewhat good. This relations, you know, you can see the somewhat good was it. See, this is like it was pretty high during this. It just gets kind of worse during the 2001, and it's kind of on a small uptick, right? Non-Hispanic, so this is I guess everyone, and this is just white people, I guess. So I mean, I just thought I was just looking it up and seeing what possible polling it was. It was interesting. I don't know. I just thought about that.
Of founding organizations like Blexit, where they are active in a ton of different states, in a ton of low-income black neighborhoods, giving young black kids mentors, school supplies, rides, field trips, events, block parties, that man. But people just want to say, oh, he was racist because he said this one thing. That's not how this works. You're allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to say things. And also, you as a person watching this video, you're allowed to fact check everything for yourself. You're allowed to think.
You see that? Creating groups to help the black community. Creating an organization to help the black community.
Deeper and think critical about the things that are being said. That's okay for you to do. And the things Charlie Kirk often talked about blew my mind, especially on the topic of race. Because as someone, again, who was in the streets marching with BLM, crying my eyes out because of the pain that I felt being a black man in America and a gay man, double marginalized, double victimized, and going to these events and meeting these people and talking to these people and realizing, wow, actually, I don't have it that bad. You could have told me 10,000 black people were being shot and killed by the police, unarmed. And most years, more people are being struck by lightning than black unarmed men are being shot by the cops. That man, Charlie Kirk, was not a racist man. Affirmative action.
You see a black person in a position, or minority or whatever, the assumption is that that person does not qualify, when literally, and you have to be qualified in order.
This is they use this quote a lot, right? So let's check this one out.
Even to get in that position.
Well, so let's take college admissions. So this is a great example. At Harvard, we learned because of new revealed documents that black students were having test scores that were 30 to 35% lower than their white counterparts.
Okay.
And so, therefore, if you saw a black kid at Harvard, it's a fact that they were not having the same test standards as their white counterparts.
Still doesn't matter. The kid has to get through. He's got to get through the classes, do the tests, do all the research.
Well, they actually drop out at a greater rate too. But the point being is just the idea that they were there. Number one, took a spot from an otherwise qualified individual that might be white, and they were not there on the same merits. So what we want is the same rules for everybody.
You're making the assumption that they're not qualified in order to get in. In order to even get there,
It's not the assumption.
considered.
It's the data. So, for example, it's literally at Harvard, you had kids with perfect SAT scores, perfect ACT scores that were white.
So that makes a degree from Harvard worthless then.
Well, you're exactly right. Yeah, actually, Harvard's degree is becoming more worthless because it's more race-based than merit-based. You're exactly right.
Affirmative action in a nutshell. Oh, well, Charlie Kirk was against affirmative action. That means he's racist. Oh, there's tons of black people against affirmative action as well. I don't need you to lower my test scores because that's even more racist. I don't need you to lower my test scores to give me a chance to get into college.
And again, this is a thing where we need to evaluate the times, right? Evaluate the times. I understood why affirmative action was created. Okay, because it just black people at a certain time wasn't even given the chance. It doesn't even matter how much better you are than a white person because you're black. No chance at all. I get it. But in my honest opinion, in the 2000s, in the 2025, honestly, it's purely now is just used for what? Just to like, oh, you're black? I care about you more. But then it's like, you only care because of the person's color, right? Now, it was to do like, so you could not ignore a person just because of their color, right? That was why. You shouldn't ignore someone just because of their color. Now, you care about somebody only because of their color. That's the thing where I hope that we got to the point where we care about a person's merits, person's characters, person's morality, who they are inside, okay? And that should always been the case. But affirmative action is trying to push that because people didn't, right? People didn't care who you were inside. They cared about all you were outside, but in a negative way. Now, people care only about who you are outside, but in a supposedly positive way, but it's not, right? Because you don't need it, okay? I don't know if he's going to show it. Yeah. Charlie Kirk, another quote, right? Because he didn't play that a full video, which I think he should have. Let's see. Okay, give me a minute. Here's that video played in full.
About DEI, unqualified black pilots. You see a pilot on a black pilot. Don't you think it was an irresponsible statement suggesting that maybe these pilots aren't qualified? Last year you said something about DEI, unqualified black pilots. You see a pilot on a black pilot. Don't you think it was an irresponsible statement suggesting that maybe these pilots aren't qualified or unqualified?
No. But I'll tell you exactly what I said and why I said it.
Okay, go ahead.
I said, the pretext, I went through a whole windup. I said, United Airlines is saying that they want 40% of all their pilots to be people of color or women. We have learned that we have relaxed standards anytime that we try to reach racial quotas. Anytime we reach racial quotas, we relax the standards. Standards for air traffic control, professors, or college admissions. Therefore, when it comes to pilots or surgeons, if I see somebody who is black, as I said on the show, I'm going to hope that person is qualified. That's what I said, which of course is legitimate because they're begging the question, we're not hiring based on merit anymore. We're hiring based on race.
Now,
So when you see a black pilot, you wonder, boy, is that person there because they earned it or because they were placed there? That's what DEI does. It makes you ask questions you otherwise would not ask.
So the airline industry is going to take an unqualified person just based off diversity.
Underqualified, not
correction, yeah.
Underqualified.
Unqualified, underqualified, whatever, uncertified, and put them in a cockpit and risk people's lives?
Those are two different things. Under and un are two different things. Of course, United Airlines will not take someone off the side of the street and put them into a pilot. But in order to reach a 40% goal, they might cut corners. They might accelerate the process in order to reach a goal. We know this through all sorts of DEI examinations and projects over the last 10 years.
You said the silver.
That's the thing where we need to judge people on the basis of their characters and abilities, not what their gender is, not what their race is, not what their orientation is. I mean, that's the amazingness of it. And I'm disappointed that we don't do that. I'm disappointed. You know what? There's something that me and my a friend of mine argue about legacy enrollment, right? So if your father was a student there, you may be able to be a student there too. We should get rid of that. What the fuck is that? That is more important. That right there is more. That's something we should recognize more. Just because your parents there, or just because your parent pays for like a library, shouldn't equal you getting a free admission to a college. No, because you are taking up a spot where someone definitely, right, could have, was better fit for it. That we should get rid of, right? That we should focus on. We shouldn't make things where, oh, if you're black, then, I'm going to focus on you more. No. I want to check this one out too, right? It's 4 minutes. So he talks about, I don't know if the other guy's going to use it, but he says a lot of good things in this one. So I wanted to, check this one out.
Civil Rights Act was a mistake. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so the parts of the Civil Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally authored for.
But the intent specifically originally was to
Well, that's interesting. So the intent and the law are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that. That's not what the law only did. It created a...
You see that? He agrees with the civil rights. He doesn't disagree with it. What he disagrees with is that it is written in a way where it can be ambiguous. It's vague. So he was going to say, he's going to give more reason.
Massive anti-racist DEI army that then gave us affirmative action. For example, recently Merrick Garland sued using the Civil Rights Act, saying that we cannot have voter ID in certain states because it's a violation of the Civil Rights Act. So basically what the Civil Rights Act did is that it went beyond disparate impact and then went to disparate effect. In the sense where if black Americans are not doing as well as white Americans in a certain category, you can now use the Civil Rights Act and say that's a violation.
That's the thing where, again, see, that's where a lot of things, it shows that he's not necessarily, he wasn't against the reasoning or necessary outcomes of, let's say, the Civil Rights Act. He was against now the weaponization of it. Okay? Now you want to use that for, let's say, including women, including, in certain things, whatever, right? Or including, gay people in certain things. It was meant for race, right? It was meant for, people of the minority, people, black people, to have equal rights, which I believe it's done. Now it's used to, do whatever, things that they want it to be done, right?
Don't you want to feel like you earned your spot? Don't you want to feel like you worked hard for something? Why would you want to get a handout? Why would you want to just be given, hey, hey, you black, we're going to enter into Harvard because you got a D. Even though these white people are getting A's, I know you're not capable of getting an A, and we need more blacks at our college. So we're just going to go ahead and accept you in even though you have D's. Do you not find that disrespectful? If you're a black person watching this and you're studying super hard and you get into Harvard, don't you want to feel like you got into Harvard because of all the work you've been putting in and not just the color of your skin? That's why a lot of people are against affirmative action. They don't want these handouts. They don't like that this is the thing. You're making the assumption, no, it's actually real stuff that has been going on. Real stuff, you guys. That is okay to call out. It is. So before people go shout from the rooftops, oh my gosh, this is horrible, this is racist. It's not. It's actually racist in reverse. I think some of these affirmative action things being put in place is actually racist. Critical race theory.
Okay, y'all can laugh, but until you have walked as a black person on this campus, y'all truly don't understand.
CJ, come here. Really quick. I have a question. Come here. Go right there. Okay. So CJ, just really quick. You're a black person. Are you hunted at the university?
I don't feel hunted at this university, but I guess the difference between me and some people here is that I don't choose to be a victim, Charlie, which I think is the biggest problem we have here today are people who wake up every single day looking for a reason to be oppressed, looking for a reason to cry and make an excuse about why they're not in a position to go win. I don't see the color of my skin as a disability. I see it as simply an accessory that I couldn't control. I've been black all my life. I've been black today, and I'm thriving here. I think that's a roll tide right there, right? I don't know.
And so, CJ, let me ask you, CRT, racist?
It's not just racist. It's the exact iteration of white supremacy, just in reverse. I think it's important that we start teaching young people not to hate other people because of the color of their skin. We can teach black people to be proud of who they are without telling white people they should be ashamed of who they are. You know?
Amen. Yeah. So, closing thought, CJ. Is this trying to divide the country?
It's not only trying to divide the country, it's trying to break apart the foundation upon which it was built. You know, people forget the words of MLK, Rosa Parks, all those people who fought so hard for us to be united country, where we didn't see the color of one's skin, but their character. This is about taking us away from the vision and the dream of Martin Luther King and just taking us to the dream of Kamala Harris, and I don't want to live that dream.
Amen. CJ, you're a great American. Give it up for CJ, everybody. So good.
That is my friend CJ Pearson. Shout out to CJ. Incredible video. That sums up really well how Charlie Kirk and a lot of other people felt about critical race theory. And it's fun. It's interesting, you know, that black girl that started off the video. You know, if you were black on this campus, you would see how we really feel. We have to stop speaking on behalf of everybody. We do. Because that quick, there's another black person, another student at that university in that audience that said, I'm having a different experience than you. I love it here. I'm thriving here. Mindset matters a lot, you guys. And on the topic of critical race theory, we're allowed to teach black history. We're allowed to, it's American history. We're allowed to teach those things. I never understood this concept of critical race theory, focusing on race and Black History Month. No, we don't need it. Just incorporate a Black American and Black history into our nation's history and teach it all year round. I don't need a separate month to celebrate my race. I actually think it's racist to reduce my lineage and my family's American history to 1 month. It's just American history. And we can talk about it, we can teach about it without teaching black people to be victims, or that they're owed something from white people and have white people feel bad for being white because of what happened in the past. It's the past. I don't have to feel bad about it because things have changed. Again, in my ancestors' dream, I'm afforded every right they wish they had. They can't even fathom the life I'm living right now. They can't. So on the topic of critical race theory and using that to call Charlie racist, kind reminder, there are tons of black people who are against critical race theory too. So you're gonna sit here in front of my face and all these other black people's face and call them all racist and they're race traitors and they hate themselves? Or you're gonna have a critical mind. You're gonna think hard about this and really think, damn, what are some other perspectives on critical race theory that must not be hearing? What do other black people have to say about critical race theory? What was Charlie Kirk really saying about critical race theory? What was so hateful that people think, but then also so many other black people loved? Look into it. Illegal immigration.
I don't like your t-shirt. I'm an immigrant. I don't understand why you would want to deport some of my friends and family who have been working hard in this country.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Claudio, sir.
Yeah, Claudio. And this is just a thought exercise, but it's very revealing. You are king. And you find out that there are 30 million uninvited people in your country. What do you do with them?
I try to find the most humane way of sending them back to our country. But first of all, I want to say...
That's what we're doing.
Wait,
that's what we're doing. So what country did you emigrate from?
Are you going to like discriminate against me?
No, I'm going to do the opposite, actually.
I'm Mexican.
But you came here legally, correct?
I did.
You followed the rules. The people that you know didn't follow the rules.
True.
So I divide America not into Hispanic and white, into rule follower and rule breaker.
Yeah.
And so when someone breaks our rules, there must be justice done. And the most humane way is you go back to your country of origin.
Some of my boys, like, they're being like persecuted, like back home, them and their families, like, they're like in like drug related, like, wars and violence, and the only way out is if they escape and they break the American law, but that's the only way they're going to survive.
If that is correct, we have a special asylum status that they could seek legally at a port of entry, that they could go through a whole process.
Yeah, but if they're being persecuted, wouldn't it be justified to cut the line?
No. If we all of a sudden say that if you have a lot of gang violence and issues, I mean, like, we have a lot of gang violence and issues. Like, what are we talking about here?
True.
You have to draw the line. If your plane is going down, what do they tell you to do first? You put your mask on first. It's the same way as a country. We need to put our own oxygen mask on first, and then we can worry about helping other people.
That's it. It's that simple.
And I said this in my my viral video that got me a lot of hate. Asian people support the deportation of illegal immigrants. When you have done it the right way, when you have spent thousands of dollars, waited years, right? I know some people who waited like 5 years and still waiting. Spent thousands of dollars. Okay? And then to have someone else, let's say, jump the line. Are you kidding me? No. If you jump the line, you get caught, well, back at the end of the line you go. Again, they're not killing people. They're deporting people, right? Back to your country. You want to get back in line? Go for it. But you are deported. Okay? Asian people love the country. We love America. We love America. Okay? We work hard to get to America, and we're still working hard in America. So it is the insanity that if you jump the line, it's okay. There's no consequences for jump the line. Well, there are, and sadly, well, you're suffering from it. So we support it. Just get back in line, right? Back in the line you go. It's okay. That shit happens. I've seen Asian people get deported too. Okay, well, sucks for them. It happens. Okay? Now you just got to go back in line, right? Now you just go back in line. Now you have to go through the whole process. But plenty of Asian people, right, did it the right way, did it the legal way, and it will be, why would they want you to take a place because you jumped the line of someone else who's waiting in line? Plus, here's the thing, right? Shit happens. If you work around the system, you work around the system. But again, if you get caught, there are consequences to it. Okay? It's not like, it's honestly proportional, right? You are an illegal immigrant. You get caught, you get deported. It's very proportional, right? It's not like you are an illegal immigrant, you immigrated somewhere and you got killed for it. No one's advocating for that. It's kind of proportional consequences.
It's nothing race related. It's literally rule breakers and rule followers. We're talking about a man who threw Latino retreats, you guys. We're talking about someone that promoted so many different races and ethnicities, including Hispanics. Again, like the guy brought up, he said, okay, well, isn't it justified for them to cut the line because of how much heartbreak and all the things they're going through in Mexico? No. Because if that was the case, we take in the whole world. There's so much corruption in this world, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, nowhere, it's like, there isn't anywhere that is amazing like that, right? And you gotta think, that's never gonna fix your country. That doesn't help nobody. What is it? I forgot, man. What country was it? Venezuela? Is it Venezuela? No, not Venezuela. Give me a second. El Salvador, okay? They have become extremely well off. They are, well, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but, they solved their problems. Well, other countries should do the same. They need to solve their problems for the betterment of their citizen. Leaving a country that's failing is not really solving the core issue.
It's not even funny. And if we were to take that all in and accept, it's not. Abortion.
Everybody, do me a favor. Please be respectful, okay?
Before we even get in, everybody be respectful. So we see what this person looks like, and you would think, oh, they're gonna get, beat by MAGA people and so judged and harassed. And no, it actually turns out.
And you know what? I've seen Charlie do that so many times. To ask people, to be respectful, to ask them, give others a chance to talk. I've seen him do it so many times. How is that a hateful man? How is that a man that spreads hate? Literally, he just wants to talk, share opinions, share ideas, have civil discourse.
To be a very productive and nice, calming debate. Not even debate, just conversation. But this is who they got rid of. The man that starts off a college debate. Everyone be respectful.
Hello. So I have a few leading questions before my main one. Because I have to be honest, I don't really know that much about you. So would you say that you're very...
I love this interaction so much because I applaud this woman that instead of going to her friend groups, she went to Charlie. She saw this event, stood in line at that event, and waited to ask a question because she wanted to go right to the source.
And that's the thing. All these people that hated him didn't have the guts, the balls to have a face-to-face conversation with this man. And you were able to do it, right? This man wasn't untouchable, which is the reason why that shit happened to him, right? That's the thing where he wasn't the president, right? If you had a disagreement with him, you can do it face-to-face. All these colleges were open, right? You could go walk onto this campus, as dangerous as it is, and you see how that happened. You could walk onto these campuses and have a face-to-face conversation with this man. He wanted it. He promoted it.
Amazing.
Very religious.
I am religious. However, every one of my political positions is defensible from a non-religious perspective.
Okay, great. So I was under the impression that your beliefs on abortion were stemming from your religious beliefs.
Well, at the core, that is correct, but I can get that it is defensible from using reason and prudence, as I have done the last couple
Cool.
of.
So you're not trying to illegalize abortion based on the Bible.
Well, no, not based on the Bible. My personal conviction comes from the Bible. I want to
Mm-hmm.
make abortion illegal because it is the only applicable extension of laws we already and standards we already have in the West. Correct.
I'm sorry, can you maybe rephrase that?
Eliminating abortion is
mhm.
the only logical step while we apply the standard we already have in this country to unborn life. So we have murder laws.
Yes.
Therefore, murder laws should apply to unborn life as it does to born life.
Okay. So again, reiterating, you're not trying to instate laws based on Christian beliefs because that would be unconstitutional, right?
Well, not again, sort of, but no, I am not using scripture to defend my beliefs. However, my personal convictions start with scripture, but the political views that we're talking about here are all defensible using reason and Western tradition.
2 points to this, because abortion argument isn't always about religion or God. There's a lot of agnostic people and atheist people who also do not like abortion for this very simple reason that nothing's consistent. You can have a pregnant woman driving to the abortion clinic to get rid of a baby and it's fine.
Now, let me say my own view, right? I lean on it a bit because people have convinced me otherwise, but I'm essentially pro-choice. I always feel like, accountability. You want to do this, whatever fucking happens to you, right? Like sometimes the women get, depressed or whatever. Well, okay, fine. That's what happened to you, right? Like for me, it's like I'm not as I don't know, what is it, angelic as these things are. It's like that's why I don't shy away from pro-death or pro-death penalty. Like, well, fine, kill the person, right? If the person did these crimes, right? Go ahead. Because I'm not religious myself, so my viewpoints aren't based on religion. It's really my viewpoint is more based on logic and accountability and just not being hypocrites. So why I'm pro-choice is that at the end of the day, you want to fuck up your life, you fuck up your life. You want to do you want to. I know that abortion is pretty much trying to take away your accountability, but at the end of the day, you're going to feel that repercussion, and if you share it online, you're definitely going to get that repercussion. So,
But that same scenario, if she gets T-boned and killed, the person driving will get charged for double homicide. Like, how come this mom with the life inside of her can go to the clinic, get rid of it? It's fine. But if someone killed her, it's double homicide because there's 2 people. How come it's considered a separate person? Sometimes, but not. It's like when you have someone at 7 months getting an abortion, boom, it's fine. But if you have 7 months, have the baby, and they kill that baby, that's murder, and the mom's going to jail. It's just strange. Nothing is consistent. The whole abortion argument's a separate video. But off the bat, I can tell you, there's 2 sides that are just going at it from 2 completely different angles. There's a side that's like, well, it's the mother's body, and there's people down here saying, well, it's the baby's body, and that's the big difference that we see happening. But again, the abortion side, that conversation, that debate, it's a whole that can go on for hours if we wanted it to.
So, great. That's all I needed to know, that you weren't trying to instate laws based on Christian beliefs, because I would not be able to support anything that was so blatantly unconstitutional. But thank you for clarifying that for me. I had a whole thing ready, but I guess that wasn't necessary. Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, just tell me more about how you view politics, or what. Is that okay? Or if not, and feel free to walk away. I'm
maybe
not here.
not in this crowd.
That's okay. Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Archer.
Archer, thank you for coming up, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying.
And let me just say one last thing. I can tell you probably have a negative impression of Christianity, maybe. I hope one day we can earn back your support to making Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior. I'm sorry if the church has failed you in that way, because I do have strong religious convictions and beliefs, and there is a God who made you and loves you, and he sent his son to die for you.
Her name is Mom.
Okay, well, thank you. I do appreciate the candor and the courage to come up here, but we will pray for you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Archer.
Super nice. Like, that is so wholesome. It really is. And on this topic of abortion, like I said before, there's so much debate around it. But just because you have someone like Charlie Kirk that is very against abortion, let's just go into it for what it is. It's a separate life. People bring up how he said, he would be against abortion and people should give birth if they're pregnant. they need to go full term. That's something that I even disagree with Kirk on. But at the end of the day, he's allowed to have that opinion, and doesn't deserve to be assassinated for that opinion. Why Charlie debates?
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your goal in this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
That is why I do what I do. That's why Charlie did what he did. That's why Candace does what she does. That's why Brett Cooper does what she does.
And this is the thing where one of the things I love Charlie Kirk for that, right? Is that let's talk. I was having a conversation with my friend. It's like I believe that's one thing that we're missing so much. Just civil discourse. Let's talk. You disagree with me? Cool. Let's talk it out. I want to create more call-in shows. If you disagree with me, cool. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. I'm down with it. Let's have a respectful civil discourse. Let's do it. And I think that's important. We shouldn't be wanting to kill each other. We shouldn't be wanting to hate on each other. We shouldn't want violence against each other.
There's so many Amala, there's all these content creators. It's why we do what we do. Specifically, the political, cultural commentators who are very, very loud, about similar topics that Charlie would oftentimes talk about. Because it's important to share your voice. It's important to share your beliefs and have rational and calm conversations. Heavily important. And it is, sadly, the left that causes a lot of destruction and harm and threats. I've talked about in length my journey from the left to the right. When I was on the left, I had all my friends on the right, and they always talked to me. They always had conversations with me, and that's all it was, and we were still friends. When I made my way over to the center right, all my friends on the left kicked me to the curb, called me all the names, called me all the slurs, called me self-hating black, self-hating gay, wrote me off, kicked me out of friend groups. When I think about all the death threats that I've ever gotten, when I think about all the... Yeah, that's Charlie Kirk. He wasn't a nobody. By no means. The work Turning Point Action does, it's insane. The amount of people Charlie put on, the man's reach was insane. And what happened to Charlie Kirk is an attempt to shut down all the voices like him. And it's only going to amplify them even more. I'm more fired up than ever before. I'm precautious. But I'm more fired up than ever before, because we cannot live in a world where everybody thinks the same and everybody's scared to talk or scared to get canceled. We cannot live in that world. And it is sad.
One of the things where I love that, men's content is growing is that everyone should have a voice, right? Everyone should have a voice. If you disagree, well, let's talk. But we shouldn't silence people. That's the thing. We shouldn't silence people. We should have civil discourse. It is so important.
That is unfortunate. Look at this.
This be a lesson to all those other conservative freaks, those little weirdos with podcasts. Just know your necks are on the line. Your necks. No. Your necks.
People are making lists. People are talking about other people are next. Anyone that's more conservative and outspoken needs to be shut down. You need to be put on a list, need to be taken out. Have you really lost the plot? You're so far gone where you think it is justified to eliminate someone for thinking differently than you. Have you in fact, have you lost your morality? Have you lost your sense of humanity to go that far to where you think, yes, anyone who thinks differently than me deserves to be eliminated? I've seen some people's true colors the past few days. We all have. And I don't want any...
I've seen so many videos, right? TikToks of people. It's so disgusting. Laughing, smiling, having a great time of this man. You know, this is the thing where you don't have to be sad for this man. You don't. You don't have to agree with him. No one's asking even for sympathy. But it's like, do you have no respect for human life? Aren't you the party that says that talks about that shit? Yet you show how little respect you have for human life. Particularly, you said, "Oh, you're next."
Part of that. I don't.
So far, I've seen videos of just the left being pro-unaliving political opponents, whether that be Trump, J.D. Vance, people celebrating what happened to Charlie Kirk today. It's just disgusting behavior. The fact that I have been a part of the left for 7 years, I never thought we'd get to the point where I would have to look at my own party and be like, oh, hold on, I can't support you anymore because everything that you are doing right now is against your political viewpoints and your values and beliefs. To sit here and promote gun violence against your opponents is wrong. And it arguably makes you worse than the other side because you're basically saying these people deserve to be unalived because our political beliefs are more important and should stand and should have more value than a human life. Ooh. Yeah, that doesn't sit right with me at all.
And I'm gonna make a separate video on this, outlining all the people who are leaving the left after this event and have waken up and the things that they're going through and experience. I'll be having another video documenting that. But this is so important that it's happening because you don't see this on the right. Are there fringes? For sure. But this topical, this mainstream, like on college campuses, on every campus, handing out flyers, like, yeah, I'm glad he's dead. I don't understand it.
It is disgusting. This is why it's like it's hard because all the hate and it's just like this is why I've said this kind of thing before. I was a Democrat for a while. And shit like this just proves me why I stopped, why I left. I left a while ago, right? During the whole because I wasn't a fan of Trump, okay? I wasn't a fan of Trump, but how everyone turned really ugly and how they didn't promote Bernie, which I believe was I guess in my mind during that time was a more tear down the system and let's redo it kind of mindset, and then push Hillary. I was like, I was done. I was tired. It was no different than before, right? It was then honestly how I viewed it was I always viewed government as voting for the lesser of two evils, right? Until Bernie, in my opinion. And this, again, is just my mindset during that time. I felt like Bernie was wow. Here's the man, right? Here's a man that I wouldn't see as voting for the lesser of two evil, right? Here's a man that I believe that wanted to overhaul America, in my honest opinion, that time. Wanted to overhaul America, change it for drastic change, whether it happened or not. I just believe that this man, that's what he wanted to do. And then they really just pushed him to the back burner to promote Hillary Clinton, which is honestly, she was part of this the ideology of voting for the lesser of two evils. So it kind of whatever, right? It snowballed and it's made me question that side. And then over subsequent years, it's like makes it worse, right? Where I know why I really left that party. I left that side. So what do you guys think? Again, this guy is Amir Odom. I'm not good with the words, right? But yeah, you can check this video out. Decent creed. I've seen a couple of videos of him before, so very good. But great that he made a video to debunk a lot of these hateful ideas towards him, right? A lot of these uh, unsubstantiated ideas, right? So you get this from so many other people, particularly, at least from me, for my FYP, you get this a lot from black people, and it's like, you're wrong, and you can't even prove that you're right. So I don't know. It is what it is, and it's sad. But I hope that more people will spring from this and be more vocal, be more challenge system, be more stand for your beliefs, right? Stand for your beliefs, and you know, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but hopefully, you know, more people like Charlie Kirk will spring up, right, to fight for what they believe in, to, you know, try to have an open dialogue with your opponents. So, what do you guys think? All right, later, guys.